move on and we can talk about Crystal Palace, Pete, because arguably defender of the tournament so far for England, Marc Guehi, lots of interest in him post-Euros. What's his valuation, please? And which teams are interested in the defender?
Yeah, he's had a great tournament at the Euros for England. Again, he's capitalised because he probably wouldn't have started the tournament if Harry Maguire was fit. But Maguire being injured opened the door for Guehi to start in Gareth Southgate's side, and he's really taken that opportunity with both hands. For me, he's probably been England's most consistent player throughout the tournament. So no surprise, it's really enhanced his price tag as well. You're probably looking at 50 million to 60 for Marc Guehi right now, maybe even higher off the back of this Euros with England as well. We know he's a top player. We've seen that with Crystal Palace over the last couple of years in the Premier League. But I think he's gone to another level now, performing at the highest level on the international stage. So Crystal Palace will be demanding big money for him if they want to sell him. They don't want to sell him. They want to keep him. He's got 2 years left on his contract. There is talks maybe ongoing over a new deal as well, but I'm sure Guehi right now, there'll be a number of clubs looking at him and hoping to prize him away.
He's in the Branthwaite bracket, Pete, isn't he not? No, I'm looking at Jared Branthwaite, somebody who's not made the England squad. Granted, he's younger and you're buying potential in Branthwaite, but in Guehi, you've got a player who's only slightly older. He's already in the England squad. He's performing like he is at the Euros. Surely you're looking now 70, 75 million for a player like Guehi. Because, listen, if I was a club looking at Branthwaite and Guehi, I know where I'd be going because you want an immediate impact in your first team and a player who's playing at international level. I don't think there's much difference between Guehi and Branthwaite. In fact, Guehi is ahead of Branthwaite and he's already proven that he's fulfilled his potential.
You should be working for Crystal Palace, mate. It's a great setup in that respect. But no, totally. He's playing in the team, so his price tag's only going to go up. Steve Parish, we know he's a smart negotiator. He won't be looking to give away Marc Guehi for anything. And there'll be a number of big clubs looking at him. Real Madrid were mentioned the other day with Marc Guehi. Manchester United, we know, are in this market for centre-half. If they don't get Branthwaite, could they switch their attentions to Marc Guehi? There's every possibility. And Arsenal have been mentioned as well. And we know Liverpool are in the market for a new left-sided centre-back as well. So they'll be looking at Marc Guehi on their potential wanted list as well. But yeah, Palace are in a strong position here. They could demand a huge fee. And we know the going price for Jared Branthwaite, £70 million plus. There's every way that Crystal Palace will say he's worth at least that, if not more. And I think obviously the going rate when Harry Maguire went to Manchester United, a lot of clubs point to that as the going rate for a top English defender, and Palace are well within the rights to ask for that as well. So he won't be easy to prize away from Crystal Palace this summer, especially now they've lost Michael Olise as well. I think Oliver Glasner will be determined to keep hold of his best players, and those clubs are going to have to really push the boat out to try and sign him this summer.
Picking up on another star then, Pete, that you sort of hinted at in there, Eberechi Eze, he's attracted lots of interest too. What's his valuation and where is he likely to end up if he is to leave? Which clubs are interested in the forward?
Yeah, his position is slightly different. There is a release clause in his contract at Palace. It's a complicated one. It's not the most straightforward deal, but I think it's around £60 million, but it maybe depends on if those clubs interested are in the Champions League as well, a bit like Olise's release clause as well. That's what sort of stopped Chelsea from pursuing a deal for Olise, because his release clause was only applicable to teams in the Champions League, and Bayern Munich went in there and took him to Germany. But yeah, another top player, had a great end to the season with Palace. So you've got the likes of Manchester City, Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool. I think you'll have all of the top six after Eberechi Eze this summer. Again, he's come on in a few games for the Euros for England. But yeah, a top player. But as I said, Palace will be doing everything they can to keep hold of him. They've lost Olise. They don't want to lose Eze in the same window. That would be a disaster for the whole club, I think, even though if they did get big money for him. But those players are hard to replace. And we just saw at the back end of last season how good Crystal Palace are when Eze and Olise are in the same team, because I think the points ratio when both players are playing compared to when they're not playing, it's like chalk and cheese. So I think Palace will be doing everything they can to try and persuade him to stay. But if somebody does meet that release clause, he could well end up being on the move this summer. And I'm sure being away with England has whetted his appetite to be playing at the highest level. And some of those clubs that are interested will be able to offer the attacking midfielder Champions League football as well. So yeah, it's a big one for Crystal Palace. They're going to be battling to hang on to their best players and fend off interest from top clubs across not just the Premier League, but across Europe.
You mentioned there, Pete, about Michael Olise's deal, that £50 million move to Bayern Munich. Are they expecting to reinvest that money back into the squad? And which positions are they targeting? Could it be a like-for-like replacement with Olise?
Yeah, I think obviously it's decent money. A lot of that money does get split up. Reading have a sell on, and some of the money goes to the player and the agent as well. After he went and signed a new deal last summer when he turned down Chelsea to stay at Palace, so they won't be getting all that £50 million. But yeah, I'm sure Oliver Glasner will be hoping to get some of it to strengthen the squad. Palace, I think there's a few areas of the team that they need to strengthen in, probably in the fullback areas. The cover is needed, I think, for Muniz and also for Tyreek Mitchell, if they can get that in. Again, if they were to lose Eze, they're going to have to bring in an attacking midfielder. They brought in Kamada on a free transfer from Lazio, and he looks a really top player from his time playing with Glasner at Eintracht Frankfurt. He helped them reach the Europa League final. So he looks a decent addition. And again, I think up front, it's probably an area of the team that they need to strengthen in. Mateta had a great end to the season last year when he showed a real red hot streak in front of goal, but I still think they need more cover up there. So they'll definitely be looking at a replacement for Michael Olise, and probably more attacking additions as well up front.
And to wrap up, Paul, Oliver Glasner set to be offered a new long-term deal potentially. Do you feel that he's a manager for the future? Do you think Palace have really landed a bit of a hidden gem in Oliver Glasner?
I'm not so sure it's a hidden gem. They've obviously done their research on him, and they've brought in a manager who the biggest compliment you can pay him is, listen, managers don't get jobs when teams are playing well. He actually came in, he changed results around, but he changed performance and style around very quickly. You could see an identity. I think he's been a really good find for the club, because in football circles he was well known, and I think a lot of people wanted a big name coming into Palace. I think he's come in. I think you can see a real identity. Absolutely, with the new contract, you can understand. But if you thought he was the right man at the start, why not give him that length of contract and stability and security at the very start when he first comes in? But in the short time he's there, he's warranted enough for the club to want to keep hold of him, or at least to protect their asset that they've got. I think he's going to have a big challenge. You spoke there about the players that Pete spoke about. You know, we know that Olise's gone, Eze could go, Guehi could go. That's the heart of that team. There's also there's rumours in Scotland that Edouard's going back up to Celtic. So, you know, you look at that with Mateta was carrying the can for the goals, but you take Eze, Olise, Guehi out of that Crystal Palace team, all of a sudden Oliver Glasner's job is very, very different going into this new season. So he could have a bit of a rebuild on his hands if they are to lose those players. And the fact that Eze's got that release clause in his contract, that probably won't sit too well with the manager. But actually the manager individually, he's done a great job. He surprised me, put a new style into them, got them results. But he's going to have a different challenge to negotiate the transfer market if he's to lose those quality players, because they were the heartbeat of his team at the end of last season.
You've just watched a segment from Football Insider's brand new podcast, The Inside Track, with me, Lewis Pearce, alongside the guests on the show. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please do give the video a like, comment your thoughts on the topic, and feel free to share on your social media pages. If you want to listen to the full podcast episode, click the link in the description below. Keep your eyes peeled for plenty more content and exclusives here on The Inside Track.